Welcome to the Gate 7 International Podcast, your official English source for all things Olympiacos FC and Greek football.
The first day of training is when I realized, this is why they win the league every year.
When I spoke with Kevin, if I'm going to sign or no for Olympiacos, he said, you are crazy, go direct, my friend.
Να πετύχω ήθελα να μείνω στην ιστορία του Ολυμπιακού.
I can't speak, sure.
Yeah.
Έλα μαλάκα!
Σαγαπώ πάρα πολύ, Πειραιάς. Είμαι Γάβρος πάντα, όλοι μαζί.
What's happening, everybody? Gate 7 International back at it again on this lovely Sunday afternoon, evening, morning, depending where you guys are tuning in. I'm Aris, joined by Costa today to discuss all things going on today. Costa, how you doing, buddy?
I'm good, man. I'm joined by my cat, Paco, right now. He's with us right now. I don't know for how long. It's great to be with you, man. And it's great to be with the lovely Gate 7 International audience.
As always, people already checking in. TF91, Jim Politis, thank you guys for tuning in. You guys are regulars of the show. We love having you. And yeah, it's a big game for sports, or a big day for sports, I should say, today. It was some big games today for the Greek Super League. We'll touch on that shortly. And for those of you that are fans of the NFL, National Football League in the United States, it's Wild Card Weekend. I know many of the Greeks that are listening in Greeks that are listening in Greece will be sleeping, but my Baltimore Ravens will be playing their playoff game in about 3 hours. So I'll be watching that shortly after we finish recording.
Go sports.
A lot of stuff going on today, a lot of stuff to get into. But obviously, first and foremost, guys, the channel, our socials, they are growing again. We're out of the holiday season, getting back into the swing of things. Things are beginning to pick up. So for those of you that are tuning in, we get new people that tune in every show. And it's literally just over half of the listeners for every show that tune in are new listeners. And a lot of you don't subscribe. So subscribe, help us continue to grow this podcast. You guys like the show, I should say. We're not just a podcast anymore. If you like the content, subscribe. The engagement, boost us up the algorithm, help us find more Greeks, help us find more Olympiacos fans, and help us grow the red and white community. And of course, a couple words from our sponsors. Guys, if you are shipping anything out of Greece, out of the United States, to Greece, to England, wherever it's got to go, visit our friends at Piraeus International, www.piraeusintl.com. They will ship boxes, they will ship cars, wherever they have to go, all around the world. So give them a call if you need any trans-shipping needs to any country in the world. And of course, as always, Champions League elimination stages are coming up, Europa League, Conference League, and we did some fun stuff for the World Cup with BetUS. They have great odds, everybody, and they are very aggressive right now. They are trying to grow, get more people to bet with them. For those of you that paid attention during the World Cup, I had great odds for a lot of the games that were better than FanDuel, that were better than Bet365, some of the European sites. Check them out. They're also doing a 125% deposit match. So when you go visit the link, use our promo code GATE7INTL. They will match after your account creation, your first deposit, 125%. So if you deposit $100, they will give you $225 as your first deposit, as a bonus. So it is a great service for you betting guys out there. They give great odds, and we have a blast with them. So Lambro's terrible. I don't think he's won a single bet yet, but we do those bets between us all the time, and we'll continue that for the Champions League as well. Now, let's get into it, Costa. Let's discuss. There's a lot to talk about today. First and foremost, big win. First big, we say derby win, because Aris are one of the, we'll say, perennial top 5 clubs. A lot of people don't think it is a derby, which is fair. Maybe it's not a real derby. Maybe it isn't. But this is our first really big win over a more competitive team that we've had this season. They beat us in the first half of the season. It was very frustrating. And then today, despite it being quite an ugly game, we were able to be the ones that got this one and fight it out, duke it out, get that ugly win. And we continue the win streak. Costa, 4 games in a row. And not just that, no goals. No goals conceded in 4 games straight. What do you make of that?
Well, it's a huge result. We talked about it last week. We've been talking about the need to break some streaks right now. One streak that needed to break was the fact that Olympiacos couldn't win more than 2 games in a row. Now they've won 4. Another streak was Olympiacos couldn't win a big game within 90 minutes or extra time. They did it against Aris. That was a big game. I would like to clarify a bit about the whole derby thing. Uh, Yes, well, in England, where I work and where I work, a derby is strictly considered a match between local rivals, with very few exceptions. One of which is Manchester United versus Liverpool. When Arsenal and Manchester City play, it's not a derby. It's a huge match. It's not a derby. Now that Newcastle are up and coming and they're already looking great and they're going to keep looking even better when they play Man City, it's not going to be a derby. It's a shame Martial isn't here because then maybe he could give us the French definition. But when it comes to Greece, a derby is when 2 big Greek teams and big Greek clubs play against each other. 5 years ago, the game against Olympiacos versus Aris wouldn't be a derby, but now it is a derby because in the last few years, Aris are consistently in the top 4 of the Greek league, and they enter the Europa Conference League qualifiers and the Europa League qualifiers in recent years. So that's why it's a derby now. Right now, that's considered a derby. Huge win for Olympiacos. The game started a little sloppy. It was we've been used to Olympiacos dominating the first half and downing tools in the second. It was kind of the opposite tonight. Olympiacos had a rocky start, a nervous start. They did get a goal with Cedric Bakambu that was rightly overruled for offside. Honestly, I would like to mention that to you, Ari, as well. I was a bit perplexed with Bakambu's movement. When Fortuny stole the ball, Bakambu knew he was offside. He was just pacing instead of running back towards the line so that they could create something. He just stood there, and Fortuny's automatically and instinctively gave him the ball, and he was way offside. So that was a bit of an issue there. Then we got Aris's goal, which you have a very important analysis to share later on, from who was the guy who scored it again? I forgot his name.
The goal called back offsides. Yes.
Yeah, it was offside by Darida. He was obviously offside. That was a bit nervous though, because the Olympiacos needed VAR in this one, but they made the right call. It was definitely an offside. Then the second half started with Fortunis being taken out for Masouras, which I remember on our WhatsApp group, we did raise a few eyebrows on that, but we didn't care a few seconds later because
exactly
League has delivered one of the best crosses I've ever seen in the Greek Super League, not this season ever. And Masouras finished it off in a way that he hasn't since the Fenerbahce game last season. We haven't seen Masouras finishing like that in a very, very long time, at least a year. So he scored the winning goal right there. Olympiacos had some really good chances with Pepiel. Julian Cuesta had a very good game, denying some amazing opportunities from Olympiacos. A bit of a pickle there. Olympiacos do have a few complaints, and one of them is the fact that, again, I forgot that player, the Aris player's name. Who was the Aris player that almost broke Masouras' leg?
Oh, yes. My word. That was a travesty. I mean, I get why it was only a yellow card because he was not the last player back, but that was such a dangerous challenge. Fabiano, there you go. That's it.
No, that's a red card. That is a direct red card. VAR should have intervened.
They should have, because look, I know people say all the time that when you slow things down, things always look uglier than they actually are. But still, either way, it was a really bad foul. It was reckless. Even if it was supposed to be a tactical foul, that's dangerous. And I feel like I hear myself say this every game we play Aris. Every time we play Aris, we always talk about how I'm surprised nobody came out injured from this. I'm surprised nobody ended up in the hospital. All of these games against Aris are very, very physical, and they get very ugly very fast. But that was a horrible foul. Fortunate I agree with you. I think they were very fortunate to get away with the yellow. I think the refs, again, reasoning there was he wasn't the last man back, and maybe that's why he didn't give it. But
it was very dangerous, though. The Olympiacos attack was very dangerous because Juan was coming from the left, and he had an entire field available. So if Masouras had managed to give that pass, Juan could have finished it right there. But he almost snapped his shin in half. Like, that was very
it,
dangerous. The VAR should have intervened. That's not fun.
look, man, I agree with you there, but this season it's asking for a lot to get calls that should be called. Not just for Olympiacos, but just in general. Certain teams seem to be getting great calls at the great times, but whatever, it is what it is. I'm not gonna belabor that point. We try not to talk too much about referees in this show.
We don't. No, I don't blame the referees for anything in this match, other than them being careless and reckless, because that puts players' security in trouble. There was an incident with Paschalakis as well and Andre Gray, very dangerous situation that could have led to a serious head injury. When Paschalakis, he was going for the ball and Gray was going for the ball, and that led to a serious collision. He was offside, and there was a goal after that, but he was offside, would have never counted.
Exactly.
But yeah, huge win for Olympiacos, very big for their confidence. 2 games coming up with Atromitos and Ofi. You gotta play Marcelo next weekend. 2 big games with Aris in the cup as well. You mentioned injuries, so that's going to be interesting because it's going to be physical, not once but twice.
Yep.
And then it's PAOK time.
Exactly. And
real derby.
Exactly. And we're gonna get to the importance of that, but I wanted to shuffle a couple steps back. You brought up Yorgos Masouras' goal, only his 2nd goal of the season so far, first of the new year. Of course, you guys may remember that 5-0 drubbing that we had against Asteras just before the new year. Masouras had a goal there, but other than that, Masouras hasn't really done anything all season. It's been a very tough season for him. A player that is not, as we brought up many times before, he's not a traditional winger. He doesn't have the skill set of an out-and-out winger. He's more of a forward that plays wide. And so when he's not getting that end goal product and he's not scoring for you, a lot of people then get really upset. A lot of people can get very upset with Masouras very fast. 1, because he's Greek. And 2, because he's not necessarily a player that can make a lot happen on his own. It frustrates a lot of Olympiacos fans. James Rodriguez with the assist, a lovely crossover to him. I mean, James has had some gorgeous crosses, gorgeous plays into the final third, into the penalty area especially. That makes his 3rd assist on the season. So he's got 3 goals, 3 goals and 3 assists on the season. So it's about 6 goal contributions in under 1,000 minutes. That's not bad. Not bad at all. Pretty good contribution from James. We have a comment here from Paris_Zaf. I was in the stadium and oh God, James couldn't walk. There's been a lot of questions, a lot of discussion about how James maybe can't last a full 90. There was also a lot of discussion about how here we go, we have our first real test and things look difficult with 310s in the lineup. I don't know. I mean, maybe I wasn't paying attention to his movement, James's movement throughout the game, but I didn't notice anything worse than some other players, we'll say. But he has enough talent to where the distribution is his value. It's not him running around all the time. He plays some gorgeous balls, and that ball to Masouras wasn't the only ball he played that made it to a dangerous area. He had a couple of decent free kick here, along with Pepiel. Pepiel had a couple of great moments as well. Also a nice free kick take. So just some great stuff overall, not for lack of chances. In the first half, things were a little bit slow. I don't think there was a single shot on target in the entire first half. I can double check myself on that, but I can't recall a single shot that was on frame in the first half. There weren't even that many to begin with. It was really the second half where things started to open up a lot more. But how did you see that, Costa? First half, second half, things slow, maybe the teams feeling each other out, and then things opened up in the second half?
Yeah, like I said, usually Olympiacos dominate the first half and down tools in the second. It was the exact opposite tonight. And I also cannot remember a single shot on target in the first half. It was very slow. Olympiacos it was very nervy for Olympiacos. It did feel like they were trying each other out. But it worked out at the end. A wonderful piece of skill by James. Incredible finish by Masouras. And let's not forget that the Olympiacos are now 3rd in the league. They leapfrogged the PAOK, who drew with Ofi, goalless draw there, and they're 3rd right now, getting there slowly but steadily, getting there. And Panathinaikos are playing PAOK next week.
That's
They,
correct. Big
they
derby.
they they escaped Yanina with the skin of their teeth, the usual penalty at stupid o'clock. But PAOK are a different animal. PAOK have improved. PAOK did get themselves into a nice little streak before the goalless draw with Ofi. Something's brewing. Something's brewing there. I wouldn't be
Yeah.
too sure. If I were a Panathinaikos fan, I wouldn't be too confident.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, they've been even their wins. I mean, the Panathinaikos has definitely struggled at the very least at the start of the new year. We can even say since the restart of the league. And they had an extra time penalty, as you brought up already today. They had an extra time penalty, which changed the result against us, obviously before the new year. They've benefited from, this is their seventh penalty, if I remember correctly when I was counting. The seventh penalty on the year, and 6 of those 7 penalties had a direct impact on their final result of the game. The reason I say 6 of 7 is because in the game against AEK, they had 2 penalties. Their first derby against AEK, they had 2 penalties in the first half. They were losing 1-0, and they had the penalty for that made it 1-1. Then they had another penalty at the end of the half that made it 2-1, and the game finished out that way. So, I mean, 6 of 7 had a direct impact on the final result of the game. And then you can you can also say that all 7 of the penalties directly impacted the scoreline because all of them changed the flow of the game in that manner. They went from losing to drawing. It changed the situation. So I said it in the first half of the season. Panathinaikos' way of winning was not sustainable. They were outperforming XG. They were outperforming. They were operating as the most efficient team in the league. They weren't creating the most chances. They were just finishing everything, finishing chances that don't normally go in. I told everybody that wasn't sustainable. Of course, Panathinaikos fans didn't like it. Now look at what's been happening since the restart. They dropped points against the Olympiacos. They dropped points against Ofi. Barely squeak by Olympiacos. They lose to AEK. Can't say we didn't see that coming. And then I think they beat. That was a cup game against Volos, right? When they played.
Yeah,
That's
a cup game.
So that was comfortable. Whatever. Volos always seems to roll over for the top teams anyway. And then, of course, today they literally. I mean, Pasianin has been a tough team. They played all their home games against the top 3 teams, and they haven't dropped any points against anybody up until today, and that was because of a penalty at the end, a penalty which was ridiculous. But anyway, they are getting out by the skin of their teeth. This isn't a Panathinaikos that's like the PAOK Invincibles that were strong and winning games. Maybe they weren't winning 5-0, 6-0 every game, but they were a strong team. It didn't seem like they were going to lose. This Panathinaikos team looks like they're not going to win almost every game. Every game I've watched, I'm not impressed at all. I am impressed by the recent pickup they had, but I'm not impressed by the team right now on the whole. And it's going to make things very interesting going down the stretch. You already brought up they have a big derby coming up next week against PAOK. Huge chance for us to make up points. We could bring up next week's schedule real quick. I have it up here. So we're going to play against Atromiros, so great game for us.
Marcelo masterclass.
Yeah, there you go. AEK's going to play Ionikos, so we can expect a win there.
They're going to win.
This is another chance. It's a very important match for us to really pick up points, because then the following week we have another set of derbies because Aris is going to play AEK, an opportunity for us to encroach on second place. And I imagine Panathinaikos will beat Asteras. They've looked horrible since the restart. But again, 2 must-win games in the next 2 weeks and here we are. I really could see a scenario, hopefully Panathinaikos lose and we're within 4 points. All of a sudden, everything is possible now.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely right now. It's hard to see Panathinaikos keeping it up with those kind of performances, especially with the playoffs coming up. I've said it before, this is going to be by far the most exciting playoffs in Greek football history, because it might even be a 4-horse race by the time we get to it. If Panathinaikos lose to PAOK and then Olympiacos keep winning, Olympiacos are going to be 4 points behind the top. And by the time Olympiacos play Panathinaikos, if they beat them at the Karaiskaki, that's going to be a -1. That is if everyone else keeps winning their games. It's very interesting right now. If anything, Olympiacos started very poorly, but they've proven that they're putting together a real push for the title in the second round. Uh, Olympiacos' rivals take notice. I mean, this is nothing like Olympiacos from the first round. Nothing like that team. If they want to insist, though, thinking that Olympiacos are not good enough this season, well, I wouldn't mind that personally. I'd take that. But I feel like they understand. Ivan Jovanovic is a very good manager. So is Matias Almeida. Razvan Lucescu always takes Olympiacos seriously. It doesn't matter how poorly they perform. He always takes that team seriously. Nothing like Olympiacos' performance in the first round. It was a huge win for Olympiacos against Aris because remember that was the game that had Carlos Corberan sacked. That was the game that brought Mitchell to Olympiacos.
Yes.
And also the Volos game. That was the game that destroyed what was his name, Conrad de la Fuente's time at Olympiacos and perhaps his career.
Correct.
So yeah, Olympiacos are exercising some demons right now. It's starting to look really good. Smiles have returned. I enjoyed that little celebration in front of Thira Efta at the end of the match. It showed unity, it showed faith, it showed belief. Reminded me a lot of Liverpool's celebration after the draw with West Brom back in 2016. It wasn't much of we're winning the league. It was more of a don't give up on us. Exactly. Whereas Olympiacos' celebration had that aspect of don't give up on us, we still believe, but it also have an intense sign of we're winning the league.
Absolutely. And the smiles, the way everybody was together, we didn't see that in the first half of the season. We didn't see like the players getting together, cheering in front of the fans. There's definitely a better attitude. The locker room is better. The attitude around the players is better. And that's for a lot of reasons. Look, we're winning. There's a lot less people in the locker room. A lot of the players. We had talked before. We had talked to some individuals that told us, look, having a lot of people in the locker room is bad. It's not good for the players. We got a lot of that information over the summer and the fall. So all of this is coming together and it's producing a much more positive atmosphere. So you like to see all of it. The team is playing better. But most of all, you like to see when the team maybe isn't playing as fast and fluid in a game like today. That's a little bit more ugly. It's a little bit more, what's the word I'm looking for? The word's lost from me that I'm looking for. But anyway, it's one of those grinded out games. Yeah, it's one of those types of games. And those are the games that you really want to see because that's when a team's mettle is tested. The will to win is there. And in the first half, we weren't getting those games. We weren't taking what we could from them. We were bending over or losing or conceding a point here and there in those types of grinded out games. So it's great to see that this team is fighting for those when they're deadlocked because they know we have to win every game. Every single game is a must-win game, and they are playing like that, and I'm really happy to see it. By the way, guys, if you haven't seen it already, I put up a poll for your man of the match, obviously, because we always do man of the match coach is great. So you pick your man of the match. And if you don't like the options that were picked in the poll, please include your own option for man of the match to drop it in the comments. And when the time comes, we'll check those out. Going back to the game, Costa, we talked a little bit about Yorgos Masouras, how things have been a little tough for him. He got the goal. We're excited about that. Is this a return? Maybe is this goal? He got the goal against Asteras but that was a 5-0 route. So maybe some people don't put a lot of value or stock into it. But he got a very important goal in a derby match. Do you think this is the type of event that it's going to take to bring the Masouras from last year back?
Only time will tell. Nobody can question Masouras' talent. Yes, he had a very bad start to the season, but then again, who didn't at Olympiacos? Terrible start for Olympiacos overall. So just pinning it all on Masouras is just asinine. Not only was this an important goal, it was a very beautiful goal, very difficult finish, what he did right there. But it shows that they have worked it out during training, that wonderful piece of skill and that connection with James, because James could telegraph Masouras' move, and Masouras knew exactly how James was going to deliver it. Also interesting to consider why Mitchell made that change. I think Mitchell is starting to realize that he needs players to break inside the opponent's box from the wing, something that the three number 10s cannot really do. So if this is Project Reboot from Masuras, this is very welcome and this is very well needed because Olympiacos will need at least one quality winger for this late and dramatic title push with some very, very exciting playoffs coming up. Only time will tell. Surely Masuras has what it takes to come back. He has what it takes to help Olympiacos by offering solutions from the wing, breaking into the box. Masuras is really good. We've said it before with being a manager's player who does exactly what the manager instructs. I believe in Masuras. I hope we see something more. Hopefully, that's going to raise his confidence as well. More choices for Mitchell moving forward when the competition is only going to get tougher. Yeah, I believe in Masuras, but from then on, only time will tell.
Of course. We can only hope. Like I said, one of the reasons that he can be a character on the team that is very polarizing is because he isn't a winger that can take players on, but he makes a lot of great runs for us. We've seen it time and time again. He tracks back. He does a lot of things that are not showing up on highlight reels, which is maybe part of the reason why people don't have a great opinion of him. But, because of the fact that he can't really do much on his own, it makes his value in some ways limited to the team when he's not scoring. So we hope for the best. We hope that we can, hopefully this is the start of something great for Masuras. Some people look at my eyes. Do we really need to see more of Rebchuk Masuras on the left side? I think that's why Masuras came on as a sub. And with Oleg, there is a transfer situation there, but we don't really have right now somebody to replace him. I don't think a lot of people trust Marcelo as the day in, day out left back, but moving on from there, we'll see what happens with that. We still got some time in the transfer window. Another player I wanted to discuss was go ahead, Costa. Finish.
I just wanted to say about Rebchuk. Basically, I truly feel like the only thing that delays a deal with one of Rebchuk's suitors, and more specifically Bologna, who do need him, who do need additions at left back, is the fact that Olympiacos haven't sorted his replacement yet. Right. Suazo continues to be the favorite, but it seems like Olympiacos and Mitchell specifically prefer Lato, who's very indecisive. And I feel like Lato just wants to run his contract at Valencia. We're also not keen on letting players go mid-season, which is something a lot of teams feel this way. And maybe Lato wants to become a free agent so he can negotiate a better deal with whichever new club he finds, which is very common, actually. Like I would say Marcus Thuram is probably thinking the same way at Borussia Mönchengladbach with all those Premier League teams chasing him right now. So yeah, Olympiacos are being very smart about this, because if they sell Rebchuk right now as we speak, and then Suazo feels like, oh, you know what, I'm okay in Latin America, I don't really feel like going to Europe, and Lato continues to be indecisive, then Olympiacos are screwed, because who do you play on the left right now? Really, you play Marcelo against Atromitos, of course, but then you're not going to keep playing Atromitos forever. So yeah, that's what's going on. But so that's what we know at Gate 7 International about the Rebchuk situation. I don't know, Ari, do you have any more info?
On Oleg, no, I do not. But I do know that we are probably going to have one less player available for the left back position. Some of you guys may have seen some of the discussions, rumors on maybe, I guess it wouldn't be mainstream Greek media yet. But before the new year, there were discussions about Doran Leidner going on loan, and then a couple of smaller papers have discussed that he's actually going on loan to Austria. I believe the club. I don't remember who the club was that they said, but somewhere in Austria for 6 months. I would imagine it would have to be. Well, I don't remember who. I don't know who it would be. I'm not like an expert on the Austrian league either. So the rumor is he's going to Austria for about a 6-month loan. It's a shame because I think we need him, but apparently he hasn't impressed Michel. I think he's a very talented player. We brought up that he is on that list. He's top 10 for most talented young players, young fullbacks, I think it was. So we do have a gem there, and I hope if he does go on loan, I hope he gets a lot of time, and then he comes back to us over the summer and plays really well. But I wanted to discuss Rodinei with another positive performance today.
Absolutely.
I mean, you could see there again. Not that I think Oleg did anything bad today. I don't remember him getting beat. At least not beat 1-on-1. I don't remember him getting beat very badly, but there was nothing really else that he did that was noteworthy. He didn't connect. I think he had like a couple of crosses, didn't connect anything, but Rodinei was taking players on, making opportunities. He even had that one ball in the first half. I think it was a cross that ended up going to the keeper, but it could have been dangerous if somebody was making his way onto it. And another positive performance. I told you guys in the deep dive that this guy, I understood. I wasn't super excited about him at first when I heard about him. But then after watching the film on him and seeing the type of player he was, I really thought he was going to have value. And 2 games in, the guy is showing that he is valuable for Olympiacos. What did you make of it?
If there's one word, if there's one way to describe Rodinei right now at Olympiacos, is composed. He is so composed in that right wing when it comes to both his defensive duties and his attacking duties. He's not. Is he impressive? Of course, he's impressive, but he's not dazzling. He's not the kind of guy who comes on and you immediately realize he means business. He's there to do his work as a right back, quick in defense, very helpful in attack. So accurate with his passing. His positioning is almost always perfect. Always offers solutions. He's there when he's needed, and he just oozes confidence. He oozes composure. I don't remember the last time we saw that down at right back ever since Omar left.
We haven't.
Lala. Yeah, Lala didn't do that.
Never.
Androutsos, Versalico was done. Yeah, absolutely impressive player. Can't wait to see more from him.
Yep.
I have a feeling his performances can only become better because he's going to keep adjusting with the team more, keep understanding what Mitchell needs a little more. The competition is going to improve, so he has to improve as well. Absolutely, I'm happy with that transfer. Very much happy with that transfer so far. If Suazo is also the same, then Olympiacos are going to be something else in this second round. Let me tell you.
I agree with you there, man. And actually, I said 2 games, 3 games. Ionikos, Volos, and today. I was like completely forgetting about those 2 games. So yeah, it's and you know what the crazy thing is too? It kind of scares me sometimes because he sits so far up. He goes so far ahead. Like he's like in line with the attackers. And I sit there, I'm like, oh God, I hope that he doesn't get caught there. I hope, like, I sit there and I panic because we've seen it happen before with plenty of our fullbacks in the past. So I every time he does it, I get a little scared. But man, he knows when to get back. He gets back pretty fast too when he needs to. He tracks back very well. So it's very, we're still early on, only 3 games in. But I am very much enjoying what I'm seeing from Rodinei. I'm very happy with this transfer. Unfortunately, we can't say that the majority of our transfers we've been happy about so far this season, but he's one that, for a winter transfer and being, the first one, the only one that we've made so far, I can say that I'm happy with him moving forward. There were some comments also about Pep Biel. Look at my eyes, DC. Was a very big fan of Pep Biel today. He had a solid game. He had a nice take. I brought it up earlier, that free kick. Man, he did have a nice take. And you know what the funny thing was? I still remember the first half of the season when he hadn't really hit the ground running. After he had his debut, he had, I think it was a goal and assist. And people were like, oh, he's a terrible player. We spent too much money for him. Like, guys, this is the talent we want on this team. This guy is really good.
He's luxury for the Greek league. Pep Biel is a luxury for the Greek league.
Exactly. I mean, the whole team was playing bad, and people were going at Pep Biel in the first half of the season. No, this guy's talent. You saw it today. A couple of chances that he manufactured. Coach Michel tuning in. How do you like me now?
Well, we're still waiting. There's still a lot to prove. Still a lot of work to do.
There's still a lot to do, my friend. Still a lot to do.
We're
I
rooting
think
for you, but still a lot of work, man.
exactly. I think we know who's behind that one. Good to see you, our Australian friend. But yeah, anyway, going back to Pep Biel, just a very talented player, and even playing out of position, he was playing on the wing. Now, I wanted to ask you something real quick, a little quick tangent. Did Michel flip Pep Biel and Costas Fortunis today, or is it just me?
I'm not sure, but I wouldn't be surprised if he did it. If he did it against Aris, and if he likes to do it in general, like if he's going to keep doing that. Because I like honestly, you know this better than I do. You're more of a tactical mind than I do, but I'm not so sure how long Mitchell can keep going with three number 10s behind the center forward, which is usually Cedric Bakambu, and that's why I feel like Masuras came on so early. I don't know. What do you feel? What do you feel? Do you think that the that little three musketeers thing is going to keep going?
Look, there was a lot of discussion about that on social media. On social media, we a lot of people were talking about. You had some people that were like, "This you can't play them together. Look what happens when we finally played a good team." Then I saw people arguing the other way, saying, "Well, yeah, I get what you're saying, but they're like, Fortuny, James Rodriguez, and Pep Biel are three of our best players on the team. You can't not play them." And everybody, look, all of these things that these people are saying are correct. Everything everybody's saying is correct. Like, you're right. Realistically, we can't run 3-10s all the time, but they are three of our most talented players on the team. Not taking away anything from Inbom Huang, who I value highly, and I think also is one of those great players on the team, best 11. But we haven't had a consistent winger. The people that I see singing Yorgos Masouras' praise today were the ones saying that he's garbage. We need to get rid of him in the winter.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So he does make some of those runs that are going to be needed in games like today. But you can make the argument that it's because of what was being done by James, Pep Biel, and Costas Fortunis in the first half that it opened things up for him. So the game, and it's not like we didn't make opportunities. Like you brought up earlier, Costas Fortunis and the opportunity where Bakambu was kind of just like lollygagging off in an offside position.
Careless.
Exactly, careless. It's not that we weren't making opportunities in the first half. There were some there. Now, there were better opportunities coming in the second half, especially once the introduction of Yorgos Masouras was there. But I don't necessarily believe that us running the 3-10s at this point is a mistake. It's gotten us where we are, and it was competitive. Michel managed the game very well, brought in the right player at the right time, and we got the goal for it. I still, as much as I don't like the idea of running 3-10s, and I understand people's concern with that, coaches also think about what is my best 11? Who are my best 11 players that are going to be on the pitch? And right now, Pep Biel, James Rodriguez, and Costas Fortunis, they're three of my best 11 players. That's it. Gary Rodriguez gets hurt frequently. He also hasn't been super productive recently. Yorgos Masouras outside of today hasn't offered much all season. So I think let's not fix what isn't necessarily broken yet. We have to keep rolling with what's working, and that's it. I mean, I do believe that against the bulks of the world, against Ike, and when we play Panathinaikos for the second time, that we won't necessarily be able to do this, but we'll take that when the time comes. We have to manage the situation as we're going. And right now, this is working for me. How about you?
No, I'm just thinking because the competition is only going to get tougher, especially when the playoffs come around. That is, if Olympiacos are still within a reasonable distance to finishing first. -7 wouldn't be the end of the world, but more than that would be a bit tough. I'm just thinking teams that are going to hold the line high, like I are going to keep the lines high up on the pitch. Panathinaikos are also going to make it tough because they're the kind of team that knows how to get the result that they want. How are Olympiacos going to be breaking inside the box? How are Olympiacos going to be, especially from the wings? I'm not so sure this is something that can last for Olympiacos, especially something that can drive them to drive them to the top of the league. I don't think I'm very convinced. It works right now, but it works against inferior competition. Let's see. I don't know. It'd be good if Olympiacos signed the winger as well, in my opinion. Just someone to offer a little bit of just a bit of spark down there, just a bit of explosion, just something in there, just a bit of power. Someone that breaks inside the box and brings the players in. That I don't know.
No, I hear what you're saying, man. I hear exactly what you're saying. I wanted to bring up something because I see a comment here from our good friend Johnny Tabugas. I think the most telling adjustments have been in the defense. The same two center backs and Paschalakis. Stability. And I do agree. I think the stability in defense has helped. I do still think that defensively we are a little bit shaky. I'm not 100% convinced. Of course, no goals against. You can't really complain all things together. But we shared a statistic on our socials about for goalkeepers. It was a goalkeeper ranking. It was prevented goals, total prevented goals per 90 minutes. And before this match against Aris, who is number 2 in the Greek Super League in goalkeepers, that is, prevented goals per 90 minutes?
I'm all ears.
I like it. So I'm not going to argue necessarily that we have stability in the center back now. I hugely rate what Ndoye has been doing, and even Socrates, who's getting up there in age, a little bit slower. I value both of their performances, but coming into this, Paschalakis has been one of the goalkeeper, and this is all based on Y-Scout data, that has prevented the most goals in the time that he's playing. And as a goalkeeper, the way that they generate this statistic, this prevented goal statistic, is that you guys know what XG is, or those of you that have been following, you know what XG is. It's expected goals, right? Well, when you then look at the shots that are on target and you're measuring what a goalkeeper is saving, you're not taking just the XG of a shot and that's it. No. Shots that go on frame, when you're looking at when this type of shot is on target, how often is it scored? This is a different type. This is a different XG that's produced, because when these shots are on frame, what's the likelihood that if it is on frame, it goes in goal? So we measure those goals, or those shots, the average number of time that they score and that they are goals, and then we look at what the goalkeeper saves, and that's how we determine how many goals he's prevented. Because if he's saving a bunch of shots that would be goals, 6 times out of 10, he's saving them every time, he's going to have a higher figure. Now, most people in Greece I've been seeing have talked about how great Cuesta's been, because he had some great saves against us today. But Paschalakis has done that for Olympiacos. So as much as we want to praise the center backs, guys, Paschalakis has bailed us out a lot. I mean, he has stopped a whole lot of shots. And there was a game against, was it the game against not Atromiros that or maybe it is Atromiros that I'm thinking of, in the cup.
The second leg.
Maybe it was the second leg. I can actually pull it up while we're talking. But there was a game where we probably could have conceded 2 goals, or maybe it was against Olympiacos. I'll pull it up because now it's bothering me. But there's been a couple of games where we've conceded chances. We haven't been, since the restart, conceding a lot of chances, something that our defense has done very well on, blocking shots, closing lanes down, not allowing a lot going on in our final third. But Paschalakis has really stepped up and also kept clean sheets, saved us from what would have been, in the first half of the season, goals that stopped our wins, goals that saw teams come back against us. And I think we have to give him more credit. I've seen a few people on socials talking about this. I've seen a couple of people, not really in Greek mainstream media, discuss it, but I see some people at least giving him the credit that I think he deserves. And as somebody that wasn't excited about him and that really was not happy that we signed him, Paschalakis has really changed my opinion of him.
Mine as well, big time.
I seriously, I didn't think that the odds were good that he would have that impact that he did for Bach in Europe previously. I thought we would get, the Paschalakis that they had during the season that was a little bit more
He
inconsistent.
was benched for Zivkovic, an absolute donkey.
And not for no reason either.
Yeah,
And
he committed some unbelievable howlers. I cannot count the amount of goals he conceded from his own tight angle. Do you remember Podence's goal in Tuba?
I do, actually. That
was Paschalakis. I was thinking to myself, Olympiacos, after Vatslik's injury, I was thinking Olympiacos, a nice little tradition of Olympiacos having stability and safety and insurance in the goalpost is over. But he changed my mind. Paschalakis absolutely changed my mind. I am so happy for him. I'm putting my hands up and I'm saying this, guys. I was totally wrong about Alexandros Paschalakis. He has been absolutely amazing. Absolute stability, absolute safety between the sticks. Honestly, like when that penalty was awarded to Panathinaikos and Ilioforos, I still had a glimmer of hope. Something I wouldn't have had if Paschalakis wasn't between the sticks. I feel like Paschalakis could have saved that, but you know what? He's done so well this season that I'm willing to cut quite a lot of slack. He has been incredible. I'm so glad because he's also Greek. I don't think he's good enough to take Odysseas Vlachodimos' place in the Ethnikikos. Vlachodimos has been phenomenal, absolutely one of the best goalkeepers in Europe. But number 2, absolutely, really glad he proved me wrong.
And also, Paschalakis will exit the box. He'll leave the box.
He'll come off his line. Yeah.
So. I see.
But I don't want to let's not take anything away from Doi and Socrates Papastathopoulos. Especially Socrates has taken a lot of stick. But let's not forget he is one of the best Greek players of all time. Definitely one of the best Greek defenders of all time, with an amazing career in the Bundesliga and the Premier League. A guy that brings a lot of physicality. He brings experience. He brings a lot of knowledge. I mean, amazing defensive nous for Olympiacos. And say what you want, but at the end of the day, when it comes to center-back pairings, you need the right chemistry. And Doi and Papastathopoulos have it. It's obvious that you have experience meets youth right there. And I feel like Socrates is being a father figure to Doi. He is being a teacher. Doi looks up to him. So you know what? Just keep it this way. Leave Retsos for now. Don't try and make it a thing for the future. We don't care about the future right now. What we care about is the next game. Just keep Socrates and Doi. It's obviously the best center-back pairing, and move onwards. Obviously, we really, really need to fix that left back. I really hope at least Suazo agrees and puts pen to paper so Reapchuk can be sold. Because I got a question for Yari.
Mm-hmm.
If Reapchuk isn't sold this month, do you think Olympiacos will ever be able to sell him at least for a decent price?
Oh,
that's a good question, isn't it?
That's a very good question.
Comment section, let us know. Reapchuk doesn't leave this month.
Oh,
Can Olympiacos ever sell him for a decent fee? At least a decent fee.
That's not even a question I want to think about, to be honest with you.
Oh, we're going to think about it, though. We are going to think about it.
No.
Come on. We have to. We're Gate 7 International. We don't cower away from difficult questions.
Oh, my goodness. It'll depend. He would have to play a lot better than he has been, at least. Because right now you're selling him on the fact that he's almost never gets injured, and that he does leave it on the field. That's what you're selling him on. You're not selling him on the fact that he's going to be lights out, producing tons of shot opportunities for you, because he does not.
Or crosses.
Yeah. So, well, I don't want to think about that right now. Let me give me another.
How's that for a thought? If you don't want to think about that.
Oh, look at my IDC. We will never sell Rebchuk. He will retire with us, and he will become our coach. You're putting that in the universe.
That's hilarious. Can you imagine that?
Hey, look, man.
Now,
maybe he could end up being a good coach. Like, I don't know.
He could be an amazing coach. Jose Mourinho was an awful player. Jurgen Klopp was an awful player. Look at him now.
Right. I was like, you don't have to be an amazing player to be a great coach. That doesn't always end up as the case.
I don't
So,
think so. I don't think we're going to be able to sell him for a decent fee. I don't think
well,
so. 'Cause I
what's a
think-
decent fee? What's a decent fee?
well,
for
right now he's going for 4 million, isn't he? 4 to
That's a
5.
decent
isn't he?
fee. That is a
That is
decent
that
fee.
is absolutely
4, 4,
decent.
5.
But I feel like his stock will keep going down if he stays for longer. Because as you said, like he keeps playing every single game, which means the chance of him getting injured by the end of this season, and considering the competition is only going to get worse, chances are it keep increasing. I feel like this is a really big opportunity for Olympiacos, and they just need to take it. But it's
Yeah.
just I'm convinced it's the fact that Olympiacos cannot sort out the replacement that's keeping this transfer from happening.
Yeah. Yanni Spinos here brings up a good point in the fact that he's still 25. So it's a good age. And that's another thing that he has going for him too. So his value may be dropping, but at least he's still 20. Look, for me, a decent fee, we paid 2 million for him. We get 3, we get 4.
Mhm.
Those are decent fees. We're making money. Like that's all I care about at this point. The bar isn't too high. You know what I mean? Like that's it. And here's the unfortunate thing: if we don't ever end up getting a replacement for him, then that will become a reality. We can't just sell him without a replacement. We can't sell him and hope Marcelo is going to save us through playoffs. No, sir. No, sir. These playoffs are going to matter. So, God, why'd you have to bring that up? It's going to sour my mood the rest of the night.
No, I feel like this is a very legitimate question right there.
It's a very legitimate question, just one I don't want to think about right now.
Yeah, I mean, it's good not to think about the long-term future, but I gotta tell you, between you and me, I'm a bit confused as to why Bologna are so keen on him. Keen on him. An Italian, a Serie A club.
Again, different situation, different type of ball. Like maybe in a more defensive setup, that's what they want. Somebody that's more traditional, that's gonna run, not be beaten. That's in that context. Maybe he's fine. Look, the player has changed since he's been here. Whether you believe it's an improvement or not, he has changed since he's been here. When we first got him, he used to run like a maniac up and down all the time. He didn't used to sit back. He's quick. Like we always forget that Oleg's pretty fast. And we saw that when he first came in. He's a fast guy. But so what we're seeing now, I don't think it's necessarily the end all be all of what he is or what he could be even a couple years down the road, even a year down the road. He has changed since he's been with us. I'm not saying it's been good. I'm not saying it's been bad. I'm going to leave that argument. We've had enough of those talks about him. I'm just saying there are traits that I do believe, and I do, especially an Italian team, that I believe they would find at least somewhat valuable. So that doesn't surprise me.
Well, I feel like those are legitimate points. Maybe Bologna are looking for a bit of more catenaccio. Let's see.
We'll see, man. We'll see. Well, Costa, we are coming up almost on the hour mark. Do you want to get into it with our man of the match and our coaches grade?
Let's do this.
We've built up quite a few votes also on the poll. So after we do our man of the match coaching grade, we'll touch on the fan vote. Guys, if you haven't voted in the poll already, please do so. If there is somebody that's not included in the poll that you want to shout for man of the match, then also do that as well. Costa, how would you like to start for man of the match and coach's grade?
Well, I mean, man of the match. It's kind of tough to pick one guy. I mean, Masuras did prove to be the difference maker coming on. Incredible assist by James Rodriguez. Pepiel put together a masterclass as well. But Hwang In-beom, this guy is just incredible. This guy is just unparalleled at Olympiacos. In my opinion, the best midfielder in Greece. An absolute luxury to have. He's everywhere. Offers a solution everywhere. So good in the way he brings defense and midfield and attack together. Amazing runs, incredible positioning, oozes confidence. I feel like Olympiacos players feel a lot more confident when Hwang is on the pitch. I got to give it to Hwang again this time. Another amazing performance.
Absolutely. And he also had that cracker shot too.
Yeah.
That was saved by Cuesta. And just something for Lambro. Remember, Lambro said he wasn't like a very physical player. You couldn't play him as six. He got into a couple tussles and won every single one of them today. So good on him. Maybe Lambro will change his mind. But what about your coach's grade?
Oh, coach's grade. I'm going to give him a B plus because it kind of looked like this was the kind of game Olympiacos could lose at times. A very slow, unnervy first half, much better second half. But the fact that Olympiacos couldn't finish against Julian Cuesta, Pepiel missed a big chance. Who else am I missing here? El Arabi missed a big chance. The fact that Olympiacos couldn't finish. The more I watched this game, the more I was feeling like just finish it. Because I was thinking about all those goals Olympiacos kept conceding in at stupid o'clock at the end, at the go home minutes of every single match of the first round. How many were they? I think it was 7 games Olympiacos conceded crucial goals in the dying minutes, and that's what I was saying. Just keep finish it. They already had 2 goals that were overruled, but it didn't happen. The reason why I'm not giving him the A is because of that. So it's a B plus for me.
I think that's a very fair grade. For me, look, there's a couple of shouts. That I think you could have for man of the match. Obviously, there would be some that would point to James Rodriguez, not just because he had the assist, but because his distribution was quite good today as well. I saw a couple people excited about Pepiel, another, I think, good shout for him. He had a great game today. Yorgos Masouras was the goal scorer. So you'd be it would be not a stretch to say he's the man of the match. He came on, had the impact, and it was his goal that won the game. But I think in the end, for me, I am in agreement with you. I mean, a lot of people got on my case about giving Kostas Fortounis in the last league match the man of the match, which, again, I'm dying on that hill. I don't care what anybody says, but Hwang Mbom, incredible. Looking at SofaScore, he had 80 touches today.
Jesus.
80 touches in a game that was, if you look at like the number of passes that were played between the teams, not as high as it normally is. So for him to still have that high level of touch volume, winning as many balls as he did, rarely losing possession, attempted 69 passes, completed 61 of them, almost a 90% pass accuracy. This guy is class. So involved in so many things, an engine of creation for us. I'm definitely giving Hwang Mbom my man of the match as well. I also want to give a shout to Jan Villa. Jan Villa is fighting for a contract renewal. The only player on the field today that had more touches than Hwang Mbom. Jan Villa almost had 100 touches today.
Jesus.
So, he swings under the radar all the time because, again, Jan Villa doesn't have a lot of highlight, crazy balls that are played, final balls that are played.
I don't think he does. I think we can all see how influential he is. I just don't think we understand exactly how influential this guy is.
Exactly. He's very influential. He's just another guy that moves the ball around very well for us. Like he moves the ball like Guilherme used to, but he doesn't have the mobility that Guilherme has or the ability to get forward that Guilherme used to have. So again, a guy that goes on as like an unsung hero in so many games. I have to give a shout to Jan Villa, but Hwang Mbom again. Man of the match. I think he's by far our most rated man of the match in these games this season so far. So good on him. And I am also going to give a B plus to Michel for coach's grade because, again, I had no issue with the way he set up the game. It's been working for us, so why not stick with it? I will never be upset about that. And then his first sub has instant impact. What can you say more about that? And then, we closed out the game 1-0. It was difficult. Couple of changes maybe that could have been made a little bit differently, but I can't complain when he gets the result. Vasilis Sabrakos, when he talked to us a couple of years ago, there was a line he said that I will never forget. It's one of my favorites. And he said that coaches get paid the big bucks because they have to make the decisions, before we get to analyze the decisions. So I love that line. I think about that all the time. So that's why Michel is getting the big bucks for Olympiacos, and he made the right decisions, I think, today, and it's paid off. We've had the same players really that we've had since the first half of the season, and he's stringing the wins together. It took a while. He picked the players. He's making it happen. So good on him. A coach that we kind of were, is this going to work with him or not? And he's really turned things around.
Well, I gotta ask Ari before we close. I feel like this is becoming Gate 7. This is becoming Gate 7 tradition this season. Another streak broken from Olympiacos. Big game won within 90 minutes. Let's call it a derby. I'm going to keep calling it a derby because the Greeks call it a derby. Finally, first derby won. 4 wins on the trot. Can Olympiacos win the title?
Listen, man, I even a couple of weeks ago was still like, but I'm feeling hope, man. I'm feeling like the first and second season with Pedro Martins, where we felt like anything was possible. I don't feel like that yet, but man, when Olympiacos plays and it's game day, I'm not like, oh God, what are we going to see today? I'm now like, man, I'm excited to see what happens today. And I haven't had that emotion with Olympiacos for a while. So I am believing in this team more and more every week when I see it. I love this from Jan. Yes, Bame. Yeah, buddy. Look, the fans, I think, are believing. The whole atmosphere around the team is getting better. So, yeah, man. And, I forgot to put the poll up that we always do if you think we're going to win the title. But at the very least, I'll share the poll. The fans' man of the match, you guys voted. 39% voted for Hwang In-beom, same as you and myself, Costa. 32% for James Rodriguez, so he came in as the runner-up. Very close between him and Hwang In-beom. Yorgos Masuras in with 20% and Pep Biel at 9%. That must have been Look at My Eyes DC and Friends for Pep Biel. I feel like he's always one of the guys that's excited about Pep Biel every week. So, hey, all I can say, man, is positive vibes around the team in all aspects. Good move, making reparations, I should say, for the mistakes. Is that the right word? I'll just say fixing mistakes that were made. And now things are coming together. This is the talent that we knew we've had on this team and that we knew we could get out of this team. And it's finally coming. We're excited to see it. And we look like a team that could pull off one of the biggest turnarounds in Greek soccer history, or Greek football history, I should say. And it's really something to be excited about, something that gives me hope. And I hope that anybody that's watching really is getting excited about it. I mean, this season, especially in the second half of the season, this is a great advertisement for the Greek Super League. It is tight. It is exciting. Olympiacos isn't, as much as I love Olympiacos winning the league by double digits. I'm not going to say I don't like doing that, but this is a really exciting season. So many teams are in it. It's going to be a really exciting playoffs. I feel like this is what they had in mind when they did the playoffs, something like this.
I think they had in mind of ending Olympiacos supremacy. I think that was what they really had in mind. It's good that it's entertaining, I guess, for the non-fan, the guy that's only here for the entertainment, like I am in the Premier League. But at the end of the day, I've said it many times before. I'm going to say this again. What do I think Olympiacos need to be in Greece?
The Bayern Munich of Greece.
There we go. Okay, Olympiacos next season need to shut that shit down. Okay, we're all having fun here. It's all very exciting. We never know what's going to happen next week. It's like a good Game of Thrones season. But you know what? Next season you drop it. Next season you shut that shit down and you get back to what you know. You get back to what you usually do in Europe. I said it before in the show. Unless I see Olympiacos winning more than 2 games in a row, I don't believe shit. Now they've won 4 games in a row in Greece. If I don't see Olympiacos winning a derby, I don't believe shit. Well, they wanted the easiest derby. I'm on 51-49. I'm 51-49 right now. I feel like 51 goes to Olympiacos winning the league. 2 more games against Atromitos and Ofi. By the time in 2 weeks' time, we could be talking about 6 wins in a row. Olympiacos can and should win the next 2 games. And then it's PAOK time. So I'm saying this right now on the show. Unless I see Olympiacos winning a big derby, I don't believe shit. That's the
I
next
think
challenge.
I think that's fair. But I want to ask you something real quick before we
Of
sign off
course.
here. So we have, we played the first of 3 games we're going to be playing against Aris in the next 10 days. It's a very tough cup tie. So we're going to play Aris 2 more times, bone crunching, grinded out games. How are you, if you're Michel, how are you looking at these cup games? Are these must-win games for you? Are you thinking about the double, or are you maybe going to play a lot of reserves in the cup game, or and try and hope to dominate against Atromitos? How are you looking at this? Because we have it's in a couple of days. I think is it Tuesday or Wednesday? Wednesday we have the cup game against Aris, the first leg, and then at the Karaskaki, that's correct. And then next Sunday is Atromitos. So how are you handling that? Are you gonna play more reserves against Atromitos because it's a team that we seem to usually do well against? Or are you focused on making sure you dominate the league and then maybe playing some reserves against Aris? How are you handling that?
Well, here's the mentality that exists within Aris fans. Aris fans don't care about the league because they won't let us win it. So the cup has become some sort of a holy grail for Aris. That's what they want. That's their big goal every year. Every year, what they want to do is win the Greek Cup, because that's the most realistic honor they could achieve. So Aris are going to go really hard on that, extremely hard on that. What I would advise Mitchell, me personally, play your starters at Karaiskaki on Wednesday, the first leg. If you manage to win by a comfortable score, that is at least a three goal lead. Especially if I feel like Mitchell's first challenge is not to concede. Don't concede. And if Olympiacos manage to win comfortably with a comfortable scoreline, then yeah, maybe you can go to Salonika with a few changes. But Aris are going to go hard, so that is extremely difficult. You got to ask yourself: do you want to win the double? Can you be bothered with are you bothered with the Greek Cup? But you're Olympiacos, you got to win the double. That's what you always go for. I just said it. Bayern Munich of Greece, you go for everything. So I feel like keep doing what you're doing right now. That is, take each match day by day. Just think about the next match. Don't think long term. Play your starters against Aris, and if you manage to pick up a comfortable victory, which you should aspire to, because Olympiacos have scored 12 goals in their last 4 league matches. That's crazy. That's what, 3 goals per match. My math's not great. Is it 3 goals per match?
Yeah, and in the last 4 games,
they realistically could score 3 goals against Aris at the end of the day, and they haven't conceded. So yeah,
that's correct.
I'd say play your starters against Aris, and then depending on how the outcome is, and Atromitos are quite weak. Maybe you could save a few starters against Atromitos, because Atromitos are quite weak. So you could start a few fringe players, playing with the big boys, and you take it like that, game by day. So start your starters on Wednesday. Maybe get some subs in your starting lineup against Atromitos, and then we see what happens. We see how we are with next week in the second leg.
Yeah, that works for me, man. Guys, if you haven't done so already, before we close up, don't forget to like and subscribe. We have some big games coming up. Aris coming up during the week. If we're able to, we'll do a post-match for that. Again, another important match. And, of course, Atromitos the following week. Champions League coming up. No European ball, of course, for Olympiacos, but we will be following for betting purposes, of course. If you want to bet along with us, we're going to do that as well. Always excited to have you guys join us. We do this. We love it because we get the engagement from you guys. We love growing this community. We love meeting you guys. Costa, I think, is going to be in Greece in a few weeks, right? He said in February.
In February, it's going to be in Greece.
So hopefully he gets a chance to meet you guys like Lambro, myself, and Martial did. So, the bigger we get, the more fun this gets, meeting everybody and hanging out. And, of course, when Olympiacos is winning, it makes things all the better. So Costa, you have anything else before we?
Nah,
before we
man,
close
let's
up
go,
here?
man. Good night, everyone, and keep the faith.
Carnita, everybody. Hopefully, Olympiacos continues this run of dominance. Hopefully, they continue to win, make us happy, and at least make the 2023 year, start of 2023, better than how it ended for us as far as Olympiacos football was concerned. So, thank you guys again. This is Gate 7 International, by the fans, for the fans, your number one source for all things Olympiacos in English. And until next time, guys, we'll see you.